ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the second episode of my RPG Maker vs Ace video tutorial. And in this episode, I will be explaining the main interface. Make sure to hit that subscribe button if you've been liking my series so far, and if you want to be updated every time I release a new video. Thumbs up guys says hello, and if you enjoyed this video or any of my other videos, make sure to like and comment, and if you dislike them, make sure to hit the thumbs down button and leave your comment why you didn't like it, I guess. Okay, without any further ado, in this episode I'm basically gonna be explaining to you guys what this is. And starting from, actually I would like to explain it to you this way. You see the file, edit, mode, draw, scale, tool, game, and help drop downs. Those are basically the main important features of those are basically put on right here and broken into by the tabs. So these are the files, these are the edit, these are the mode, these are the draw, these are the tools. Actually no, these are still part of the draw. These are the, wait, hold on, time out, I'm confused. Okay, it's not in order, but basically everything that's on here is basically here, and it's just there to save you time instead of going through all this drop down every time you need a new, like let's say you need the pencil, you don't go to the drop down every time to get a new pencil, you just click it right there. You need a square, you do that. So basically everything here is in here somewhere, so it's basically the same thing. So okay, what this does, file new, it makes file new, basically just new project. You make a new project every time you want to start a new game. Open project if you want to open up an existing game. The system actually opens up the last game that you're working on, or the game you're working on most. The game you're working on most opens up automatically. So, but then if you want to open up a new project that's not that project, then you have the option to do so right here. Save also. If you're new to shortcuts, it's Control S. Just keep that in mind because it helps a lot, especially if you want to quickly save instead of wasting time into going through the file and then going to save. And then compress game data. Basically, if you're done with your game, you hit this and you get two options. Now this is very important. One is create encrypted archive, meaning no one can edit your game or anything like that. And I don't know, does it have a bigger file size or smaller file size? But I definitely know what the include RTP data means. It puts stuff from your RTP folder into the game, which makes it a bigger file system. But that's only for the people who don't have RPG Maker vs Ace and the RTP. So it's good to have both versions, like one with RTP and one without RTP, so people who don't have it and people who do have it. Edit tab is basically self-explanatory. Cut to cut stuff, copy to copy to paste what you cut, or yeah, copy to paste what you cut. I mean, no. Cut to cut stuff, copy to copy stuff, and paste to paste what you cut or copied. What cut basically do is copy and take it out of where it's at, and then delete just deletes it. Mode, there's 3 modes: map, events, and regions, and that's very important. Maps is basically what mode I mean. Now this is the mode that you draw stuff. In this mode, you could draw your map, basically. So let me go ahead and make a little map of, make a map, drawing. So that's basically what this mode does. Allows you to draw stuff on, I'm gonna call it the canvas, although that's not what it's called. That's what I'm gonna call this region of the interface. I'm gonna call this a canvas. This the palette, and there's a portfolio, which is actually the map viewer. But it's easier if you think about it in terms of that. Canvas, where you draw on, what do you call that, palette, where you pick what colors, well, I'm gonna say colors because I'm trying to make it into art terms, what colors you want to paint with, but it's actually what tile you want to paint with. And then the portfolio, where you have the collection of all your work, with meaning all your maps. So back to mode, that's what that map does. Events, this is important, another important mode. This is basically the mode that you make events with, and you also add your player starting position, vehicle starting positions, and in this event you basically create events that are going to be running your game, either if it's NPCs or stuff that the player don't actually see, that's going to be running in the background that controls stuff. And then the last mode is regions. Regions could be used for different purposes, but the main intended purposes is to set random encounters. That means if I'm in region 1, this monster is going to be spawning in region 1, and it's going to have like a different background if you set it. And then if I'm in region 2, different monsters will spawn in region 2, and if I'm in region 4, different monsters is going to be spawning in region 4, and so on until 63 regions, which is a lot. And that's basically mode. Map, to make your map. Event, to place and create events and move them around. And region, to make regions of what region part that you want monsters to spawn from. Okay. Draw is again self-explanatory, but this is when you're on the map mode. That's when the draw comes in handy. So you could draw one by one with a pencil like this. You could draw rectangles like this, or squares, but rectangles is called ellipses. Is that how you say it? Yeah, ellipses, basically circles. Well, not circles, I don't think you, yeah. And then the flood, which basically just everything of the same type. Like, it basically paints over everything of the same type. Let's say this cluster of trees here, since they're the same type, if I pick this and then I do that, it's gonna paste over all those trees. And then the lastly is the shadow pen, which is a new feature to in RPG Maker VS Ace, because it's not in RPG Maker VS. It's basically a way for you to add in your own shadows. So click on an area without shadow, it adds shadow. Click on an area with shadow, it takes out the shadows. This is basically useful if you have like a building and you want the shadows to behave a certain way, then you do that. And scale is basically how far out or how far in you want to be zoomed into your map. Two, okay, this is another important part. 2 contains a database, which is where basically you create the internal, like, stuff that people like, the things that are in the game, like items, weapons, skills, the classes you have in the game, the actors you have in the game, the enemies, like the troops, meaning the variation of enemies. That means you could have like two slimes and a jellyfish, states, animations, tile set, basically everything that's in the game that's not map related or events related. Actually, there could be event related. Resource manager, this is where you add all your resources, and I'm gonna be going over this in detail in episode let me find that. I think I closed it in one of my episodes. I forgot which episode it is. Script editor, again, I'm going to be going over this. This is basically the thing that's running the whole system, the game system. This is basically everything that runs your game to make your game actually playable. And I'm going to be going in details on how to add your own custom scripts and stuff like that. Script editor, I've done that. Sound test, this is basically all the sounds you have in your game imported. I will also show you how to import sounds. You could basically just play them, see what they sound like. Let me go ahead and stop that. see what the sound like. That way you could decide what sound fits into what part of your game. And character generation generator is also a new feature. So basically you can make NPCs without like having people make them for you. You could just make them with the default. That's a way to add in more of the body parts, but I I have not actually gotten to that, but I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna try to explain to you guys how to do that in one of my other episodes. In game, playtest basically just plays a game. So you basically just play the game in testing mode. You get debugs, you get testing features that you won't get in the normal game, like when you press F9 you get the debug screen and stuff like that. Launch in full screen basically just launches the play test button full screen. Show console basically launches the game again and shows the console in the background that shows you the things that are going on behind the, like, inside the game. And open game folder basically just opens up where the game folder is, self-explanatory. And before I actually end this video, I will recommend that you guys go into this if you don't feel like this. Basically this is the tutorial inside the game. Like, the game comes with a tutorial for those who don't know and want to learn but seems to not know what to do. The game comes with a tutorial. Basically, if you read this, you would basically have the basic understanding of RPG Maker VX. And that would be all. So basically everything here could be found in here. And one more thing is options. I forgot to mention this. Option, basically this transparent color is basically for the color of this. So it's just a personal setting that you want. I usually keep it at white, but recently, and since RPG Maker VS Ace came out, I've been lazy to change it to white. Like, I just kept it at the default blue. And one more thing, go to, and then this part, map grid, basically just makes a grid of the map. Let me make this smaller if I can. 10 by 10. I don't know if I can. Can I? Yeah, it basically just makes a grid of the map so you could, like, it's to help you map better. I will explain to you guys again what that means in a later episode. And thank you guys again for tuning into the second episode of my why do I keep saying that? Thank you guys again for tuning into the second episode of my RPG Maker VS video tutorial. And I will see you guys on episode 3.